So, welcome to episode 2, aka the first episode, because the first episode wasn't really a first episode. Uh, my name's Josh, and welcome to Bruh Hear Me Out, or BHMO for short. I would say the other thing, but I might get copyrighted for that. So, BHMO for short, baby. Yeah. um, yeah, trying to get used to doing this whole thing. I want to be consistent with it, but at the end of the day, when doing a podcast, apparently you need topics. You can't just sit down in front of a mic and just talk about random things. Plus, I don't really have a lot of things to talk about, believe it or not, unless like something significant happens. Uh, like, my band having a gig almost 2 weeks from today. What's today? The second? My gig is on the 20th. So 2 weeks is some change. 2.5 weeks, which I got to practice my bass after this, but that's neither here nor there. Right now, right now, let me quit playing. No, I'm gonna just be myself. But no, so like right now, it's just me in the moment talking about some things that I feel like talking about. It's not like anybody really listens to this anyway. Um, and hopefully my mic sounds a little bit better. I highly doubt it, but uh, I guess we'll just kick right off into it. Man, I'm terrible at doing intros, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. Oh, so I guess to kick it off, I recently tried to get into GTA roleplay. For anybody that's listening that doesn't know what that is, so hopefully you know what roleplay is. Basically, you think of it as trying to act out another life, right? On a video game. So like you're acting like what's going on in the video game is basically real life while you're playing that video game. Um and my first couple of days on it was cool. I stopped doing it mainly because I can't keep it up. It's not my forte. I don't think I'll ever do any like video game role play really ever again because it's not my role. It's not my forte. It's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of fun to watch. It kind of scratches that itch or whatever. But to actually do it, no, it's not boring, but I'm looking for a word that kind of substitute that out, but it it in by no means is it boring. As long as you got the right amount of people or around the right people, um, it's too, or at least the server that I was on was too serious, if that makes sense. Like I just want to get on, you know, role play a little bit and then just be done. I don't want to have no unnecessary obligations, if that makes sense, right? Like getting on, you just get off work and then you think you're about to boot up a game and role play, and here you are role playing an actual job. No, no. If I want to do that, I have a job. I have an actual job. All right, plus I make money from that actual job, believe it or not. Um, so I just kind of stopped because honestly, it's for me in my personal, like it's a little bit too much. It's OD, if you will. It's a little bit OD. So yeah, I stopped. Probably won't do it ever again. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Things change and time changes things. So yeah, that was fun though. I couldn't say certain words that I wanted to. Plus, I mean, I guess it's probably best that I don't say those words since I'm also trying to stop cussing, which hasn't it hasn't been going well. Also, even though I was born in the U.S., Why did I say it like that? You know, was born in the U.S., Fayetteville, North Carolina, 2-6. You know, uh, eh, but no, y- it just, uh, I don't know, man. It just, it was too much. I'm about to leave these discords because I swear, bro, just that stuff blowing it. Like, I hate my phone being blown up with messages. And with this Discord that I'm in for this RP server that I don't really play, it's just blowing up my phone constantly. So I'm just like, I'm about to mute this stuff. That way I don't have no more unnecessary notifications on my phone. Because, unnecessary clutter. But yeah, I'm trying to stop cussing. I got on a whole big tangent. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to stop cussing, which hasn't been working well. And then English, even though I'm an American, English isn't my forte. Seems like the older I get, the more mush mouth I get. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen in this podcast sooner or later. I'm going to flub up something. Ooh, good word, flub. I'm going to use that now. That's my word. I done flubbed it up. But yeah, no, like plus work has been working, life has been lifing, so it's like by the time I get home from work, I don't really want to go get on. Like, all right, I'm pretty boring, right? I don't really do anything, mainly because I stay in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing to do out here apart from, live, breathe air, look at the surrounding cornfields where I'm at, and go to the one attraction that's here, which is Walmart, apparently. Oh my goodness, you see some things at this Walmart. But that's besides the point, right? Um, I drive 30 minutes back and forth, 30 minutes to work and then 30 minutes home. The last thing I want to do is get on a video game and basically role play that I'm working at a job. No, I don't want to do that, right? I want to get on a video game and unwind. And honestly, I've been having fun playing Forza, just driving around Japan. Oh, one of these days I'm going to go to Japan. You know what? I might as well use this extra time to actually actually get back into learning Japanese like I was a year ago. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah. Oh yeah, side note, I was trying to learn Japanese, Uh uh nope, I can't even do it. I can't force myself to say anything in Japanese because I know I'm going to flub it up. There's that word again, flub. That's such a fun word to say, flub. Flub, flub, flub. All right, I'm getting sidetracked again. But no, so, that, and then also trying to practice my bass because I'm not going to lie, I haven't really like practice in months and I can already feel like I'm regressing, right? And kind of forgetting things. The main thing, which I actually did, and I've started to keep up on, which was clipping my nails. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't walking around here with like pimp fingernails, or fingernails are like longer than they need to be. I wasn't out here, wiping and getting doo doo in my fingernails or whatever. So, no, they weren't like that. They were just long. Like, okay. So for me, with me being a bassist, I don't play with a pick. I do what every other normal bassists do. No, I'm just playing. But I do what most bassists tend to do. We play with our fingers, finger style, if you will. Um, hey now, but no, we play finger style. And for us bassists, we have to keep our fingernails clipped. Otherwise, all right, follow me on this tangent here, right? So if you were to pluck something with your fingernail or with your finger, your fingertip, you're also going to end up plucking it with your fingernail and it changes the whole sound characteristics. And ever since I became a musician. I think I can use that word now. I've been playing long enough, almost 10 years now. Um, and actually playing in a semi-professional, setting, church, professional, semi-professional, whatever. And also, having written songs and things of that nature for my band, or not so much songs. Well, we all have a hand in writing the songs, writing my instruments part, if you will. A lot of times I don't like the sound that comes out when I have long fingernails. It sounds too bright. It sounds horrible. Not so much to the effect of like, scratching fingernails on a chalkboard or anything like that, but it just sounds too tinny. I would grab a bass and play a lick right now, but I don't really feel like walking away from the mic and grabbing a bass and hooking it up and all that extra jazz. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it, or if you want, you can Google or YouTube to know what I'm talking about. But that's besides the point, So clipping my fingernails, yes, I've done that. And with it being, oh my goodness, my watch is going haywire right now. Can you guys stop with the notifications on Discord, please? Thank you. Um, uh, Look, there's no script for this. I'm just doing as I please. I mean, it's my podcast anyway. Um, but anyways, you know, uh, where was I? Oh yeah, I guess this is why I need a script. But no, so got the band event coming up on the 20th, and then another one potentially the following week. Um, and then the one that we've always played ever since my band has started, ever since we started the band, in August 15th. And potentially, I say no, there's no potential. It's just those three for this year. Um, last year was dope because we actually kind of got a little more exposure, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. Um, Flub. Anyways, yeah, so, with that and then job, which is job. And for those of you that don't know, I work for a nondescript furniture rental company. Do with that what you will. Some of you may know, some of you may kind of get it, whatever. But yes, I work for a nondescript furniture rental company, and that has its toll. Like, having to chase these people down literally are kind of almost all over northwestern Ohio, where I'm at, um, for a payment. It's dumb. Like the other day, knocked on somebody's door and dude's like, "Oh, I need a little more time, brother." And I literally had that look on my face like, bruh. But I didn't say that, I kept it I kept it what's the word? Professional, I was just like, with all due respect, yeah, I was just like, with all due respect, man, like, you've had time. We gave you 65 days. And even when you weren't that far past due, you were like a month behind, we came by, was like, hey, if you need help, give us a call so we can do this little reinstatement for you. That way you're not past due. Or that way it doesn't fall out of our hands and go to a third party. And then now you got a whole nother mess brewing. Um, so, there was that. And he's like, oh, okay. And then, typical lie. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll call you guys this day and blah, blah, blah. All over a game system. All this over a game system. Like, come on, bruh. Come on. Come on. Just either come up off it. Like, I'm tired of driving, 30 minutes away from my job just to come to this person's house just to get the same answer. And, in my line of work, we can't force our way in to get our merchandise because that's breaking and entering. So, there's that. It's frustrating. It is. Um and then being almost, well, no, I think we're more than 6 months, 7 months in, going on 7 months into this new house with my roommate, and we get along well. There's no bad qualms there. We help each other, even though one of us helps more than the other, but you know, we both do our part and do our things, and yeah, there's that. Granted, I'm home throughout the week, and my roommate's only home on the weekends, but we chill, we vibe, we mesh. You know, and he's all about that role play, which I'm cool on. Just like, nah, you feel me? Oh, my dialect's about to change, so my dialect. No, yeah, and you'll hear a lot. My dialect changes. It goes from speaking proper to all I do. You feel me? Cuz I'm mad at how fluent that came out, but for the longest been yeah, that's proper English. For the longest I have been speaking properly and fluently, that I apparently, people like to say, "Oh, you're the whitest black guy I know." What the flub does that mean? Like, come on now. I can see what they mean now. I might have to get a different word than flub, but it's just like, what does that mean? Because I speak proper or somewhat proper? Like, don't let the way that I speak change it. I grew up in the ghetto, in the ew. I don't like the way I said that. I grew up in the hood, so like, they can cut it out with all that, because just like a flip of a switch, even though I'm trying to stop cussing, I will crash out. Um, which, to my benefit, I have to give myself, some credit here. Uh, a lot of things that used to make me crash out don't really crash out, because I tend to live my life by this philosophy, right? I am 28 years old. I done experienced, some things, and I'm probably going to end up experiencing some more things. But at the end of the day, why am I going to waste my energy just because you're trying to get me out of character, right? I got better things to worry about. Plus, I have a more constructive way to channel all that negativity out, i.e., playing my bass, practicing my bass, playing with my band, playing for church, so playing games. I'd rather just kind of let it all out and just vibe out and forget about it. Dancing or singing horribly in the car, so there's multiple ways to kind of, for me to level that off. Making beats. The list goes on and on about with all the stuff that I do. So, um, there's that. Like, okay, I don't know if I touched on this or talked about this, but with the guy from another uh uh store location, getting mad at me because I didn't hear what he said and walked into their back room to look for items that I was picking up for my store from their store, right? And he gets mad. Oh, you're coming in my store with an attitude. You can go on somewhere, and storms into the office. He's not a store manager, mind you. But storms into the office and has a funky attitude. Like, bruh, I'm 28 years old. You're at least 30, 38, like 38 pushing 40. If you don't grow up, like, that's the thing that gets me, right? It's like, people nowadays don't act their age. And you may be thinking, like, well, how is somebody supposed to act? Definitely not like that. getting mad and then wants to text my store manager talking about, oh, your guy has an attitude problem. The black one. Like, whoa, bro. Like, chill out, right? Like, life's too short, you know. I mean, shoot. Uh, one of my good friends, one of my good online friends, that really drove home that life is short. It's when one of my good online friends ended up passing some years ago on a motorcycle accident. He was just out for a ride, and this chick decided, oh, you know what? I'm going to pull out in front of him, and she was on her phone. So go figure. Um, which honestly, I wish he was still here today because there's some computer things that I'm like, I need help with this and kind of got to Google myself now or setting up a server or stuff like that. I digress. Getting back on topic, but yeah, like life's too short to be going around, being mad at every little thing. And this guy, it props to him, he likes animals more than he likes people, I guess, one of those peanut butter in areas where you're not supposed to put peanut butter. And let me stop. Uh, I'm just ragging on this guy. I don't mean to, and that's cool. He calls the proper authorities whenever he goes into a house and he can clearly see that animals are being neglected. Good. Good on you, bud. You do you. But don't try and project, things that you're feeling onto me. Like, because you woke up on the wrong side of bed or you got some weird energy or funky energy and you want to try and take it out on somebody, because I will ignore you. I will ignore you as long as I live. Like, don't get me wrong. So look, I, I can easily, like, again, it's not worth wasting my energy on, right? I would rather wait, not even waste, but I would rather use my energy to do something constructive or do something that I like. So, which I'm really grateful that I have this mindset. But yeah, man, uh how do you tie this into something else? I don't know. But I'm just here rambling, talking. So, we're gonna ramble and talk for the rest of the time. What time? I don't know. 777 9311, that time. All right. Yes, I know. This is a train wreck. But guess what? It's still going out. This is raw. It's raw. Um, 777 9311. What do you know about that? Well, I'll tell you what I know about that. Growing up, a lot of those songs were played in my household, mainly because, my mom would throw house. All right. So I don't know where to fall on this line, right? Because I was born in 98. But if you ask people, oh, you're not a millennial, I don't care about all that, right? I like what I like and I feel how I feel. Bars. But no, I like what I like and I feel how I feel, I'm an old soul at heart, I will literally listen to all the music that was played in the house growing up now. It just depends on what I feel like listening to. Or even, I'll jam out to some rock, some heavy metal, you know. Not so much of the deathcore though. I can't really get behind that. Um, and I think that's the musician side of me. Like, don't get me wrong, cool songs are in deathcore. I just can't do it tonally, right? I like I the my taste in music, with me being a bass player, I'm kind of biased. If the bass sounds like clanging metal, then I'm good on it. Wait, bass sounding like clanging metal? Metal? Huh. I never put it that way. Um, but yeah, no, like it just oh, what was I getting to again? Oh yeah, music. 777 9311. Yeah. that time, baby. No, but like, listening to the time, Prince, and then switching it up to a lot of the Motown, to a lot of the Casey and Joe, like Jodeci and uh Eric Badu and all this extra stuff. Like I've I listened to so much music, even on the other spec. Like, all right, so this is how I am, right? When it comes to music, it depends on what type of mood I'm in. Like, I may be in a in a New Jack Swing era, type of mood, or one day I might be in a gospel mood, or the next day I might be in like a underground, hip hop mood, or mainstream hip hop, or uh gospel Christian rap, right? And with my band, that last one kind of resonates with, because we're more so like a Christian neo soul slash rap. You know, we're like our own thing in a way, and I'm biased, so we're pretty good. Again, this is the bias in me. Which, I mean, how can you not be biased towards your own thing, right? I mean, it's like when you have your own kid, right? And friends come over with their kids and blah blah blah, and your kid's playing with their kid and all this extra stuff, and something happens and your kid's crying, the other kid's crying. Like, you're gonna rush in to see what happened, yes, but you're gonna gravitate towards your own flesh and blood. That's how I feel with my band. Like, I still support a lot of the other uh performers, I guess that's a better word to put it, that come out to these events that my band also plays at. But at the end of the day, I may kind of feel like, don't nobody do it like how we do it, because we do our own thing. If minor profits. But no, it's cool, and I just want to see it thrive and grow, right? And honestly, I want to see all the others that come out to these events and perform, thrive, and grow. Because it's good, Plus, I mean, a lot of times we're vibey, so and everybody vibes out with us, which is the best feeling ever, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, when we first started performing at these events, well, it started with one event and then kind of grew, and it's probably going to grow even more. But when we first started playing at these events, I was one of those ones that constantly looked at it, mainly focused in on his fretboard, didn't even look out to the crowd. And now, you know, I'm playing, vibing, just looking around, and everybody's just staring at you. And then, in my case, I get a little awkward, and then like, oh, back to the fretboard. All right, where are you going, fingers? So, there's that. But my ultimate goal here is to kind of put out my own, music adjacent from a band, still under the whole like Christian theme, right? But something that I, like my own mini project, if you will. Which hopefully, God willing, I can do that. Um, but I also want to see, like, I don't want, I in no shape or form want to be like a super band or whatever, because let's be realistic here. It's a niche thing, right? But I want to be kind of like known, like when once I'm 30 and decide to settle down and have kids or whatever. Um, want my kids to kind of discover, oh, dad, you were in a band, that like stuff like that's kind of cool. And yes, I'm weird for thinking that, but like that's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, right? I mean, whew, this is this is this is tough. Um, but yeah, like I want to do stuff like that. And then like there's this big event, my hometown, I guess I could call it, um, where a lot of different bands will play live at this. little like area, park area that's by the water and stuff in my hometown, and almost the whole town comes on out. And yes, there's like alcoholic beverages and stuff like that, but and granted, with us being a Christian band, I would like to see us kind of play that maybe in a different time slot, when there's not much alcohol out and, people being belligerent or stuff like that. But and that's another thing. It's like, I always get this question, well, have you guys ever thought about playing at, like bars or stuff? I mean, I don't know if we can with our scope of music, right? Like coffee shops, yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of have some songs that's in the works that kind of sound jazzy enough, you know, would fit that whole setting. But, you know, you're in a bar, you're around belligerent people, and, everybody has liquid demons running through their bodies. Nobody's really going to be like, paying well, I can't really say that because, I mean, in most cases, I mean, first and foremost, you know, pray, everybody's gonna praise God their own way, right? It's just setting wise. Um, the setting just doesn't seem right, but then again, like when Jonah was supposed to go to Nineveh, that setting was terrible, probably worse than any bar, right? And God still told Jonah to go to Nineveh. So maybe, who knows? I never really put that much thought into it. I guess that's why a podcast is here, right? So you can actually openly think about things and put it out there. Um, so who knows? Maybe, but we kind of got to start somewhere. Like us having these multiple events that we attend and play for, it's good, mainly for exposure wise. Um, which is actually pretty dope, you know? Like we're not really looking at it to blow up off of, if we can make some money off of it to purchase gear and stuff, then cool, you know. Because more gear, more time, more effort, more practice into it, especially with the other band members, they'll look at it like, oh man, this is actually gaining traction. I think the last time I checked our splits made like $3. So, I mean, it's coming along, but it's a grind, and that's for sure. I think that's what we need to do is start grinding a whole lot more. Um, but again, with work schedules and things of that nature, it's hard to kind of line up. Well, with work schedules, and then with me being on hiatus until I move back to my town, then kind of put it on pause for now. But it just it's huh. I never really thought about it, but hey, like I said, it's all in what he has store for us, right? So we can hope, we can pray, we can have faith in it, and actually, spend the time to perfect our craft. But if we're not really spending the time to perfect our craft and it's just wasting away, then it's like, well, you know, probably thinking, I mean, God's probably like, well, I gave you the foundation to start this, that, and the third, and you haven't really acted upon it. So, like, what are you doing? So, but, and even if it doesn't go the way that I want it to, or anybody else want it to, when one door closes, he opens up another door, right? So, um, there's that. And speaking of closing one door, I just gotta get this off my chest, right? So, one of my bases I got through my job, and yes, I rented something through my job. Oh no, and I know there's the people that's like, oh, well, if you can buy it outright, then just buy it. That's cool and all, but at the end of the day, just like everybody else, people have bills to pay. So renting kind of seems like an easier option. Yes, you're going to pay more than what it's worth, but at the end of the day, it's that easy option. Um, but I digress. Uh, I tried to get another one through my job, and they changed the whole guidelines to where employees can't use it. So, my store particularly, we have this whole thing and we can go and get it, but nobody utilizes it. And I was going to be set to be the first ever product purchased outside of my job to be put on rent, right? And that got shut down. So how I feel right now is just like, well, it wasn't meant to be. I guess I'm gonna just save up for it. It'll probably make it a lot better. I'll probably cherish it. Up, I went Mike Tyson. I'll probably test it for a little bit. I'll probably test it for a while. But no, I'll probably cherish it a lot better than, getting it kind of in that get it now kind of mindset, right? If I actually save up for it, kind of like, when you're saving up for your first car and get your first car and you're like, man, this is real. And, this would be my let me see, I got three here and then I got three in my bedroom closet, one at the church. So this would be my eighth, technically my ninth, but I had ended up selling one of my bases, which I'm still kind of hurt over because, you don't want to let it go. But at the same time, at the same time, you got to do what you got to do, right? Bills keep, at the end of the day, we all got bills to pay, right? So, but yeah, this would be my eighth slash ninth base. And I do want to build my collection up and have a whole bunch of different bases. And can I say, and this is not sponsored by any way, but the company Sire, SIRE, they're that like this would be my fifth, counting the one that I sold. This would be my fifth Sire base that I have. And no, no, it wouldn't. This would be my fourth. Oh my, I'm already, but no, this would be my fourth base and from Sire, and they like for an affordable, well, affordable in this economy. Yeah, right. But for a decently priced base that's decent and has premium, premium specs, premium features and stuff like that, it's the bee's knees. Like really, it's on par with a lot of well-known companies and stuff like that. And not to say that Sire isn't well known, like they've been out for years, almost a decade, honestly, and like, or I think they've been out for a decade or more, maybe. I don't know, but that they're really good. They're really good bassists and guitars too, and that's another thing. I one of these days I am going to get a guitar, even though whenever I pick up another instrument and try and learn another instrument, it feels like I'm cheating on my bass. And I'm probably not the only person that feels like that, but yeah, and that's why it's hard for me to learn another instrument. It's because, again, if I don't if I don't frequently play something or do something, then I kind of regress in skill, right? And then it's like, this is foreign. Um, but but I would love to pick up, learn a guitar at least, standard electric, right? That way I can have standard electric and bass kind of as my forte, and then kind of branch it out to other things, piano. That way I can kind of take just my whole like music production and, beat making to a whole new level, right? Which, speaking of, I feel as though, and if you were to go onto our catalog and listen to like basically listen to our songs, and then I call it our first, yeah, our first EP, if you will, which is live. But in terms of mixing and mastering, I think I'm starting to get a whole lot better, right, with it and EQing things and things of that nature. So, um, but if you want, band's name is Minor Prophets or The Minor Prophets. Um, it's literally a group of us, four of us, black and white picture, all that fun jazz. My favorite, my favorite songs so far, um, my favorite songs so far is Shepherd Me, World on Fire, Without You, and Right Mind as well. Um, so there you go. Those are my favorite four songs. I don't really have any other songs that we've done that I dislike. Um, I can't wait to get back or move back to, my hometown. That way we can get on with actually recording a lot of like actually going through and recording the songs that we have on our Google Drive that are just demos, which we have about, which I'm looking at it right now. We have our Google Drive, which are paid for extra storage, which you get 100 gigs of storage, monthly or whatever. We have 19 gigabytes out of that 100 filled up, and it's just nothing but, you know, song ideas, demos, just live recordings of us having a jam session. We're like, oh, we could turn that into a song and then throw it in the drive, and it's been collecting dust. I think our oldest is 3 years old, coming up on 3 years old, which again, we're new, fresh off the presses. Yeah, about 3 years old. So, um, but I know it's definitely older than that because again, we started our band in 23, towards September 23. Um, but we had jam sessions way beyond that, right? So, and that's basically how it all started was just, here we go. So like May. So May 2023. But again, before that, we've always had like our own jam sessions, right after church and stuff like that. So, um, granted, we weren't an official band until 2023. Um, just us jamming out and getting better at playing with each other and, kind of just fought, kind of like it turned into a puzzle. Like, when you open up a puzzle box and dump all the puzzle pieces out, it takes time to kind of put the pieces where they go. That was us, right? And then we finally had the pieces or majority of the pieces all together in 2023. And fast forward a year later, and it becomes more complete. And then fast forward to last year. Last year was definitely one of those situations because again, last year we had so many events. We had I'm trying to think, Music on the Water, Lion of Judah, which we're doing again this year, on the 20th. Uh then there was the little block party. What else? What else? And then there was the so yeah, four. This year we got three, but potentially three. I say three, but it's potentially three. Again, depending on the other guys' schedule. Because again, we all work. We all have to, you know, we all have bills to pay, stuff like that. So, um, but where was I? Oh yeah, uh, you know, fat, and then last year puzzles completed basically, or we're just missing that one piece, and it will finally be completed. So fast forward to when I move back at the end of this year and we get that last piece in there, which honestly, we need a guitarist, which we already have a guitarist at the church and we're trying to get him on board with the band. So then he could be that last piece that we need, right? And bring him up to speed and play with him a lot more. That way he can get a lot more comfortable with the way that we play and stuff like that. Ooh, ooh. We'll go for being a three-piece band with a MC to a four-piece band with an MC. Ooh, the amount of music that we can play. Ooh. I don't know how many times I'm going to say oof, but ooh, oh, I can't wait. Like I'm so excited. You know, Lord willing, of course. Um, but hopefully, you know, things kind of things work out. You know, in that regard. Um, and then again, I at this point we want to leave. We're leaving something behind with a great message, right? Because spreading the gospel, you know, spreading the gospel, the truth, and doing it our own way is a wonderful, wonderful thing, right? It's a wonderful calling, and I'm blessed to be a part of that, and just being able to leave that behind for you know my kids and stuff like that when I decide to have kids, with whoever the Lord puts me with in the future, in the next year and a half. But no, just having that that would be the icing on the cake there. But I digress. This is kind of just a big old ramble, and I'm probably going to have a whole nother ramble, which that's basically what a podcast is. It's just rambling on about some random things. Um, well, I guess to close this on out, be some little bullet points here. What I would like to get out of this podcast is to have another co-host, right? And try to get my roommate on board. He's not with it, so what I'm going to do is reach out to another person, and hopefully they're on board with it. And if they are, cool, I'll get them all set up to where they can also log into this whole thing and do what they need to do if they ever want to do a solo episode. And we'll do a introductory episode for him, and things of that nature. That way he can get acquainted and you know be a co-host on here too. That way it's just not a one-sided conversation. I can actually have a conversation with him, and we vibe well. That's my day one, always will be my day one, out the womb. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy. So um hopefully it'll change up the whole dynamic and talking things, because I don't know if you could tell, but I only have my main things that I like to talk about. Games. Oh wait, I didn't talk about anime. You know what? I'll do that in the next episode. I actually do that with him because he also watches anime. Yes, I am a nerd. I watch a lot of anime, play a lot of video games. Um, I'm the whitest black person you know. I will leave you with that. So yeah. Hey, if you enjoyed, leave a like, share it, subscribe. This is just an experimental thing, but if this gains traction, then yeah, more will come out of this. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next episode.